Beneath the soil of America lie secrets too dangerous, too valuable to be forgotten. Whispers of gold-laden wagons vanishing in the night, treasure maps etched in blood, and entire fortunes lost to time haunt the nation's past. These aren't just legends. They are mysteries, tied to betrayal, greed, and lives cut short. For centuries, treasure hunters, historians, and fortune seekers have chased these shadows, only to vanish into the same mystery themselves. But what if the real question isn't where the treasures are, but why they were hidden in the first place? The story begins with a boy named Samuel, a 17-year-old drifter who grew up hearing whispered legends of fortunes buried beneath the land he walked upon. His life was hard and unremarkable, filled with long days of labor and nights staring into empty skies. The world saw him as another forgotten soul on the edge of survival. But Samuel carried something most others did not, a relentless curiosity. In his satchel lay a crumpled map, yellowed with age, said to have been passed through generations. Some said it was a fraud, others swore it led to one of the greatest lost treasures in American history. Samuel didn't know the truth, but he clung to it as though it were his only lifeline. His days of wandering brought him through endless fields, across forgotten trails, and into the heart of wild landscapes where danger lurked at every turn. Hunger gnawed at him, fatigue threatened to break him, yet Samuel pressed forward. To him, this wasn't just about riches. It was about finding proof that he wasn't insignificant, that even someone like him could uncover a piece of history too great to be ignored. And so, he followed the faint marks on the paper, each bend of the river cut of the rock, guiding him deeper into the unknown. Days bled into weeks, and Samuel's path grew darker. In a canyon split by centuries of silence, he stumbled upon carvings scorched into stone, symbols of Spanish conquistadors who had marched this very land in search of gold. The realization struck him hard. The legends weren't just tales told by desperate dreamers. They were fragments of truth, hidden in plain sight. His pulse quickened as he traced the marks, each groove whispering of greed and conquest. But if he had found this, then perhaps others had too, and perhaps they had paid dearly for it. Not long after, Samuel stumbled upon the remains of a camp. The air smelled of rust and earth, the ground littered with broken crates, torn fabric, and scraps of maps eerily similar to his own. His chest tightened as he realized this wasn't simply abandonment. Something violent had happened here. The silence pressed in on him, broken only by the sound of his own breathing. The path he walked was one others had taken before, and few, if any, had returned. Driven by both dread and determination, Samuel pressed deeper into the wilderness until a narrow cave swallowed him whole. Lantern light flickered across walls carved by time, illuminating shapes that froze his breath. Skeletal remains, half buried, beneath rubble, their fingers outstretched as though clawing for escape. His heart pounded. These were the ones who came before, silenced by the same pursuit. Samuel gripped his lantern tighter, aware now that this was no innocent quest. It was a trap laid by history itself. Through swamps heavy with mist and silence, Samuel pressed on. Wagon wheels jutted from the muck, rifles rusted into the ground like forgotten bones of war. The land itself seemed cursed, a graveyard of ambition. Each step felt heavier, as if unseen eyes watched him from the fog. He thought of turning back, but every whisper of wind reminded him of the chest beneath the earth, the answers just beyond reach. The danger wasn't enough to shake him. Not yet. One night, cresting a ridge, Samuel's eyes widened. Below, in a trench lit by dozens of torches, men worked feverishly, hauling dirt and stone with desperate hands. Their faces were gaunt, eyes hollow, like men possessed. He crouched low, his pulse hammering in his ears. The treasure was here, but so was the madness it inspired. The way they clawed at the ground, as though the earth itself owed them blood, filled Samuel with dread. Guided by the trench's markings, Samuel descended deeper into a cavernous shaft. His lantern's glow revealed a spiraling tunnel, walls trembling as loose stones fell into the abyss below. His breath caught. He was close, closer than anyone had been in decades. But with every step downward, the ground shook, as if the earth itself warned him to turn back. His grip tightened on the lantern, knowing one wrong step could seal his fate forever. The ground roared. With a deafening crack, the tunnel began to collapse. Samuel's eyes widened as walls caved, dust choking the air, rocks crashing down like thunder. He reached out, scrambling for escape, but the earth was merciless. His lantern flickered violently, shadows devouring him in chaos. This was the breaking point, the line between life, death, and legend. When the dust settled, Samuel crawled into the pale light of dawn, hands raw, clothes torn, satchel empty. Before him, half buried in the meadow's soil, lay a chest. Its lid pried open long ago, its insides gutted. He sank to his knees, not in triumph, but in despair. The treasure had been found, stolen, or perhaps never truly there at all. The weight of generations' obsession pressed upon him, heavier than any gold. Samuel stood upon a ridge as twilight bled across the horizon, the vastness of mountains stretching endlessly before him. He felt the emptiness of his satchel, the echo of voices lost to the chase. The mystery remained unsolved, the promise unfulfilled. Yet in his heart, he carried something greater than treasure. The knowledge that the pursuit itself was what defined them all. And so, the question lingers, whispered through the winds of history. Were these treasures ever meant to be found, or forever meant to remain lost?